What if I told you that the ancient Egyptians had a dark side that they kept hidden for thousands of years? Prepare to be surprised, because scientists have made revolutionary discoveries that change everything we thought we knew about this mysterious civilization and its customs. Welcome to the mysterious and impressive world of ancient Egypt. The Haera Labyrinth. The Pyramid of Haera is a structure in the desert built by the third pharaoh Amenemhat. It is known as the Black Pyramid due to its rough appearance and is built with bricks and stones. But most interesting is the underground complex called the Haera Labyrinth, discovered in 2008. This labyrinth, mentioned by Herodotus in ancient times, has mysterious chambers and could change our understanding of ancient history. It is said to contain 12 courtyards covered by doors and chambers in and below the ground, but only the upper chambers have been explored. The underground chambers remain a mystery. The Rosetta Stone. In 1799, a group of scientists accompanying Napoleon on his military expedition stumbled upon a discovery that would change the world forever: the Rosetta Stone. This ancient relic dates back to 196 BC. And contains a decree written by a council of priests that affirmed the right of the 13-year-old pharaoh named Ptolemy V to rule Egypt. But what makes the Rosetta Stone so remarkable is that this decree was written in not one, not two, but three languages: hieroglyphics, Demotic, and Greek. At the time of its discovery, only the Greek language was known, which made deciphering the other two languages an impossible task. Until scientists realized that the Greek inscription communicated the same decree as the other two languages, allowing them to crack the code and unlock the secrets hidden within the hieroglyphic and Demotic texts. Today, the Rosetta Stone is housed in the British Museum, but not without controversy. Egyptians have repeatedly called for the stone to be returned to its homeland, sparking debates about cultural ownership and the importance of preserving history. Secret Tunnel. A secret corridor at the entrance to the Great Pyramid of Giza has been found after 4,500 years using muography. This discovery may lead to even more surprising discoveries about the pyramids. The corridor measures nearly 30 feet long and more than 6 feet wide, and could have been created to redistribute weight around the pyramid's entrance or an unknown chamber. Mustafa Waziri, head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, has vowed to continue scanning the pyramid to see what else is hidden beneath. New understanding of mummification. We once believed that ancient Egyptians mummified their dead to preserve their bodies, but researchers at Manchester Museum say this is wrong. According to them, mummification was done to guide the deceased towards divinity. Victorian researchers were wrong to believe that the Egyptians mummified like we preserve fish with salt. The Egyptians actually used a natural mineral called natron that was found near the Nile and was used in cleansing and temple rituals, as well as mummification. This discovery will change what we knew about mummies. The unfinished obelisk. An unfinished obelisk made of granite lies in the quarries of Aswan that could change our view of the ancient Egyptian world. The Egyptians carved 3 sides before abandoning it due to a crack in the granite. This mystery has baffled historians, who wonder how these structures were carved and transported from a single block of stone. Although never completed, the project has provided valuable information about ancient Egyptian masonry techniques. During the investigations, tool marks from the workers and colored lines marking the location of the workers were discovered. The unfinished obelisk is just the beginning of a great adventure through the ages. The City of 3,000 Years. A 3,000-year-old ancient Egyptian city known as the Lost City was discovered. It is considered one of the most important finds in archaeology since Tutankhamun's tomb. The city called Ajet contains a bakery, residential and administrative areas, beetle amulets, pottery and other everyday objects. Tombs and valuable treasures have also been found. This discovery may lead to more discoveries about life in ancient Egypt. Geometric miracle. An impressive tunnel has been discovered in the ruins of Taposiris Magna on the coast of Egypt. The tunnel has a length of 1,305 meters, is carved from sandstone and has a height of 2 meters. Kathleen Martinez and her team believe that this tunnel could lead them to the tomb of Cleopatra and Mark Antony, although the probability is low. This discovery would be the most important of the century if confirmed. Protective birth tattoos. In ancient Egypt, some women got tattoos before giving birth to protect themselves during childbirth. 6 mummies with tattoos have been found in Deir el-Medina. Although ancient tattoos are rare to find, archaeologists have found images of Bes, a god who protects women during childbirth, and black lines on a woman's lower back. Preserving the skin is important, since archaeologists cannot unroll the mummies. Experts believe these women may have tattooed protective images of gods on their bodies, like wearable magical amulets. The discovery of these tattoos provides new information about the beliefs and practices of women in ancient Egypt. Falcon Sanctuary. A team of researchers found a 1,700-year-old falcon shrine in Berenice, an ancient Egyptian port. Inside the sanctuary was a pedestal with 15 headless falcons, a stone monument and an iron harpoon nearby. An inscription was also found that read, "It is not permitted to boil a head here." Experts believe that the falcons were offerings to the gods and that the harpoon may have also been an offering. The inscription about boiling heads raises questions about the religious beliefs and rituals of the ancient port city of Berenice. Golden tongues. Archaeologists in Egypt found mummies with golden tongues in an ancient cemetery near Qina. It was believed that gold would help the deceased transform into divine beings in the afterlife. These mummies were also buried with other funerary goods, such as necklaces, pottery, and gold scarabs. The golden tongues and eyes are examples of the ancient Egyptian belief that the flesh of the gods was made of gold. Although it is not a new discovery, it is still fascinating and intriguing. This discovery has reignited fascination with the beliefs and rituals of the ancient Egyptians, and it all points to a complex belief system that we are still learning. But as we continue to unearth these mysteries, it's hard not to wonder if some things are better left buried in the sands of time. Realistic mummy portraits. A team of archaeologists has discovered realistic portraits of mummies along with other artifacts in the ancient city of Philadelphia, Egypt. The portraits are impressively realistic and capture the appearance of the deceased. Additional artifacts were also found, such as a funerary building and a statue of the goddess Isis Aphrodite. In addition, papyri were discovered with writings in Demotic and Greek that provide information about the society, economy and religion of the time. The owners of the portraits were likely middle class or elite due to the cost of commissioning such custom paintings. This is a historic discovery due to the rarity of the mummy portraits and the difficulty of conducting archaeological excavations in the area. Apart from these discoveries, the ancient Egyptians have customs that you will not be able to believe. These ancient Egyptian customs will leave you speechless, since this distant and ancient culture had some of the most curious customs in the history of humanity. That may be why we are so fascinated by it today. Anything that comes from that time, from the time when pyramids were built, the Nile was sailed and the pharaohs ruled. However, these ancient Egyptian customs are not great facts, but rather small moments that serve to illustrate and amaze even more, if possible, about a culture that can be exotic and strange. But perhaps, precisely for that reason, fascinating and wonderful. Learn about the most curious customs of this town in this video. Most of them have a logical explanation behind them, which can even be more surprising. But first, don't forget that you can like this video and share it. Let's continue. Number 1. In ancient Egypt, marriage was considered bureaucratic, a procedure to share strength and improve survival. For that reason, divorce was not something strange, nor was remarriage. Number 2. The flies were so annoying that some pharaohs had slaves covered in honey at their disposal to keep these annoying animals away. Number 3. Another problem of infestation of unwanted animals was related to lice. There were so many that the ancient Egyptians were forced to wear a very peculiar hairstyle, shaving clean and, in some cases, wearing wigs. Number 4. The ancient Egyptian diet consisted of surprisingly many carbohydrates, such as wheat, plants, and very little meat and fish. Number 5. Although there was a certain equality between genders, women of the time were not free from some unpleasant customs of men. For example, when going by boat, it was not unusual for them to have to put up with men doing exhibitionism. Number 6. The Egyptians wore makeup and had a very curious relationship with it, since they considered it to have healing properties. Additionally, at first they used it as a sunscreen. Number 7. One of the best customs of ancient Egypt was to immortalize their doctors. Furthermore, Egyptian medicine was one of the most advanced medicines of the time, through art, since it was a very egalitarian culture. Number 8. The ancient Egyptians had customs that seemed to be the opposite of the rest of the world. For example, they kneaded food with their feet, but handled clay and dung with their hands. Number 9. Egyptian contraceptives were uncomfortable and unhygienic. They believed they could avoid pregnancies by filling themselves with leaves and crocodile excrement. On the other hand, they were convinced that they could avoid pregnancy if they rubbed onion juice on their foreskin. Number 10. The workers who built buildings, such as the pyramids of ancient Egypt, had a great sense of humor, as they signed their works with informal graffiti, such as the Ben Khor drunk gang. Number 11. When doing other tasks, such as eating and relieving themselves, Egyptians used to eat outside on the street and go to the bathroom inside the house. Number 12. Ancient cultures, and not just the Egyptian one, did not live in a bubble, but very surprising commercial exchanges took place. For example, some blue glass beads that came from Egypt arrived in Denmark, while products from the north, such as amber, arrived in Egypt. Number 13. Some unscrupulous embalmers had no qualms about practicing necrophilia on the corpses of beautiful or powerful women. As a result, the rule arose of allowing women's bodies to decompose for 3 or 4 days before being embalmed. Number 14. Another of the most surprising customs of ancient Egypt is the care that the gods, or in other words, their statues, received. An army of priests were in charge of offering them food, drink, gifts, and even clean clothes every day. Number 15. It was common in ancient Egyptian times to believe that the earth was flat and circular, and that the Nile ran right through the middle. This anthropocentric view of things is common in many cultures. Number 16. Due to a diet rich in fat and sumptuous and regular banquets, the pharaohs of ancient Egypt were very fat, something that has not been revealed through the murals in which they were painted. Number 17. As in those times survival was rare and valuable, since many children and mothers died during childbirth, the Egyptians used to keep images of protective gods such as Batet and other amulets to ward off evil spirits. Number 18. One of the curious customs of ancient Egypt is the care that the Egyptians took of their hair. Thus, the wealthiest citizens wore wigs, the poor grew their hair long, and the pharaoh never showed it and always wore a diadem. Number 19. During mummification, the brain of the deceased was removed by breaking the nasal septum and extracting it through the nose with a type of forceps. Number 20. Another of the most eschatological customs of ancient Egypt is their love for laxatives, which they took up to 3 times a month and which were considered to cure everything, even diarrhea. Number 21. Perhaps because of the heat in ancient Egypt, children did not wear any clothes until they were teenagers. Additionally, they wore their hair in a long ponytail to avoid lice. Number 22. Other curious customs of ancient Egypt, referring to mummification, are the fact that all the organs of the deceased were removed and kept in a jar, except for the heart, which was where the soul was believed to reside. Number 23. To determine the fertility of women, the Egyptians practiced some very unpleasant methods, such as asking them to insert an onion or a head of garlic into their vagina and smell their breath the next day. If they could smell garlic or onion, the woman was fertile. Number 24. Herodotus, the Greek chronicler, was responsible for starting one of the oldest hoaxes in history, that those who built the pyramids were slaves, when they were paid workers. Number 25. The salary of workers in ancient Egypt was most curious, a barrel of beer for each day of work. Number 26. The conditions of those times were in some ways so horrible and bathed in lack of culture that it was even believed that it was good to urinate blood, especially for men. It was believed that this was her menstruation. Number 27. Another of the best-known ancient Egyptian customs is the adoration that these people professed to their cats. But what you may not know is that they plucked their eyebrows to show their mourning when one of these animals died. Number 28. Surely, the Egyptians did not have a good day when they invented pillows, since they were made of stone. Number 29. Because the Egyptians valued life after death so much, one of the most deeply rooted ancient Egyptian customs involved building houses with perishable materials such as clay, while eternal dwellings, such as tombs, were built with more durable materials. Durable. Number 30. Finally, the children did not receive a school education, although they were educated in the family, which transmitted its values to them and taught them to survive by imitating the tasks carried out by their elders. As you can see, the customs of ancient Egypt are fascinating and will surely make you even more interested in this culture. Have you liked this list? Do you know anything else about the customs of this town that we have forgotten to mention? Remember that you can leave us your opinion in the comments box. We will be happy to read you. We have reached the end of this video. Don't forget that you can subscribe, like this video and share it. See you next time.